Beware of loneliness. We may or may not be aware of this, but loneliness is one of the ways through which the enemy can easily attack us. Now, this may not sound very convincing to you, but I want you to note what Jesus said in John chapter 10, verse 10. Jesus says like this, "The thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. I have come so that they may have life and have it to the full." If you observe what Jesus says about the enemy, about the thief, about Satan here, Jesus says he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Now, before the enemy attacks you, one of his main strategies is to bring loneliness into your life. Listen carefully. One of the main strategies is to bring loneliness into your life, because through loneliness, he can steal you away from people. Through loneliness, he can take you away from your loved ones. He will isolate you. And do you know how he does that? He will bring in thoughts saying, no one likes you. Your family doesn't like you. Your spouse doesn't like you. No one cares about you. And no one would even care if you went missing. These are the thoughts the enemy will bring so that he can steal you away from people, so that you can be isolated. And once he successfully isolates you, once you become lonely, he will fill your mind with more evil, dark, depressing thoughts. And all these thoughts will soon change you into a different kind of person. You will start hating the people who love you the most. And all these thoughts, all that is happening in your mind, will lead you to depression, and eventually that will lead to suicide. If you observe people who are battling with depression or suicidal thoughts, you may notice that they often isolate themselves. Loneliness is a very dangerous thing. Sometimes we take it as, okay, maybe sometimes I like to be lonely, or sometimes I like to stay away from people. We may take it casually, but a point will come in our life where even without our notice, loneliness will begin to produce a lot of dark thoughts, a lot of unnecessary thoughts in our life. There are so many Christians, professing Christians who believe in the Lord, who are struggling with suicidal thoughts before they go to sleep, because there are so many problems that they're facing and they're wondering, how do I handle it? And then the enemy somehow comes with suicidal thoughts, with depressing thoughts, saying, hey, nobody cares about you, how are you going to deal with all this? Best is to take your life away. He will always try to isolate the person. He will always try to make the person feel lonely. And if you ever see a person isolating themselves, just moving away from the crowd, leaving their family behind, sitting in a room all by themselves, doing nothing. If you ever notice a person who loves to be lonely, don't take that as a casual thing, but remember, they've come under a certain type of attack from the enemy. The enemy has stolen them away from their loved ones, So be aware of loneliness. Anytime you feel lonely, anytime you feel like isolating yourself, avoid that. Stay as close as possible to your family and to your loved ones. See, sometimes people who are close to us may not understand our every feeling or every thought. Now, that doesn't mean we should stop sharing. We should learn to be open with our feelings and learn to share what we are feeling. And eventually they'll understand and they will help us. But if we isolate ourselves, then we will never find the help that we need. And that is how many, unfortunately, take their lives away, because they isolate themselves, they keep themselves from people so that nobody can talk to them, and eventually it leads to taking their life away. And more than anything, when you feel lonely, when you feel like isolating yourself, the best thing you can do is go into the presence of God and say, God, here I am in your presence. Would you fill my heart with your peace? Take away this loneliness, take away these thoughts. When you pour yourself before the presence of God, I tell you, you will be filled with great peace in your heart. So be aware of loneliness. If you ever feel lonely, if you ever feel like you should isolate yourself from people, remember the enemy is trying to attack you. God bless you. Thank you for watching.